So what we do is, let's start with questions. Tell me.
So, what is the best thing to do in moments of doubt?
In
Moments of doubt. When
moments of doubt, yeah,
and second question, sometimes when we want to contribute, but where
not possible. Yeah,
sometimes when we want to contribute, but we're in no
yeah,
position
yeah.
to contribute. So, how
Right.
do we deal with the feeling of powerlessness?
Okay.
Thank you.
I need to explain this a little bit. First of all, if you continue to practice, see, doubts cannot be solved 100% until you touch the truth. There will be doubts. Doubts keep coming. Even for great yogis, almost there, then there is one doubt. Right? So, it's inevitable because we are all thinking human beings, not thinking human beings. So, it's natural that there will be doubts, but these doubts fully cannot disappear until you yourself, through personal experience, have touched the truth. Okay, till then, try to solve them by whatever material is available in which answers to the questions are given or similar questions. One, if you need answers from me to discuss, email me. Okay, now every day I get over 250 emails. Some of them may not be serious questions like yours. Some are questions like, in my right ear there is a pain, what to do? What am I supposed to do? I said, pinch the other ear. So, you know, so people are like that. My tooth is paining, I'm going to the dentist, please help me. What do I do? So usually when such emails come, I just cancel them. I don't even look. Then, if there are serious like life problems or spiritual doubts, like or on meditation, then I look at it. Now the thing is, since you are sending me the question, if necessary, I will answer the question. If it is not necessary to directly answer the question, I am still working on it. So that one day, it will occur to you, I got it. But then you will think you have found it yourself, which is good, which is what I want. Seriously. Because when you find your answer, you will be more amenable to accept it than when I give you an answer. But if it is a situation that is so important and so serious, then I'll definitely reply. No question. Okay. Now there's a third trick. When you sit down and do Kriya and do Guru Mantra and so on, you have something serious to do with sadhana, only sadhana, okay? Not love affair. So then, yeah, you have. Then, then what you do is fix your attention on the Ajna Chakra here. You imagine or you visualize that you have put your question into a small guided missile here, tiny. And then you think of me and send one. I'm serious. And then I get many such guided missiles. When I'm meditating, sometimes who's this disturbing? But then if it's a serious question, when it lands, I will make sure that the pilot returns.
Oh.
Hmm? And you will get it. From the morning I've been thinking how to get this man out who is caught. So, so I think I have kind of answered the question.
സർ നമ്മൾ ഡെയിലി രാവിലത്തെ ക്രിയ എല്ലാം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഓഡ് ടൈമിൽ മെഡിറ്റേഷൻ ചെയ്യണം എന്ന് തോന്നുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ എന്ത് മെഡിറ്റേഷനാണ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? എങ്ങനെയാണ് അത്?
Say that again.
അതായത് രാവിലത്തെ എല്ലാം ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞു, കൊയ്യ എല്ലാം ചെയ്ത് നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും ഉച്ചയ്ക്കോ എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് കണ്ണടച്ച് മെഡിറ്റേറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് മെഡിറ്റേഷനാണ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്?
English. He asked me the question when I finished all my kriya and then I'm walking on the beach or somewhere. If I find a nice bench there, so I sit down quietly. What meditation should I do at that point? Or which part of kriya should, or nothing at all, what should I do? So I'm telling him, first sit down somewhere. There are many kinds of silent meditation. One is to sit quietly and just be witness to your thoughts. But before that, for 2 minutes, chant the Guru Mantra. Om Hrim Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Ask for help. Sit down and allow your mind to relax and just watch your mind. One. Or open your eyes and look at the sea if you're sitting near the seashore. When you look at this sea, there should be no profit motive. How many fish can I catch? Just look at the sea as it goes, as it flows. When the waves come, watch the waves come, break and come slowly. That's also a kind of meditation which you can do. Okay. If you're in the forest, sit near a tree, not coconut tree. Any tree.
സമാധി.
Yeah, Samadhi, Mahasamadhi. Sit under a nice big tree, either with open eyes or with closed eyes. First, always do the Guru Mantra. Then just relax. Now, you will hear birds. Don't try to stop that sound. Let them be. You're part of this whole world. You're not separate. The separation is an artificial thought that has come into our minds. We're everything. We are part of the whole thing. So when the birds chirp, listen to the chirping also. And just relax. Just relax. This is something which you can do at any time, even after you've done your kriya. Even before that.
താങ്ക് യു സർ, താങ്ക് യു സർ.
Now I'm going to stick to English, otherwise she'll get angry with me.
Sir, in between Kriya sessions, after Kriya, then we get into this world which is full of problems, issues, and all that. And again, the next Kriya session starts the next day. So, how do we conduct ourselves in the day to day worldly life which has got lot of issues?
See, first of all, let me tell you, the world is not full of problems. I am full of problems. So, as I begin to sort out my problems, it is possible to handle the outside world's problems. First, I have to solve my problem. Most of the problems are because we think the world is very unkind. See, I am the one who is creating the problems. So, first, try to work on yourself. If you work on yourself, you will see that none of the problems really have any dangerous result. One. Second, deliberately try to live in this world, especially in speaking and behaving, that you don't hurt others. 60% of your problems also. Eat moderately, follow the yama niyamas and enter the world. We are not teaching kriya or meditation for someone to run away from the world and stay in the Himalayas, in some far off place. Many people do that, they come back in 6 months. So, stay here, and this is also the teaching of the Gita, which is why the Gita is preached on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We're all in this battlefield. So, don't give up. Main thing is don't give up. Don't give up your spiritual journey because of the problems of the world. I live in this world, right? I'm married, I have two kids. They are married, they don't have kids, but they're married. Now, of course, I also have my problem now. March end is coming. April, May, I have to file my returns. So these problems are there. But I handle it with peace and tranquility because my mind has settled down. So, what is the first thing to do? Try to settle the mind.
I'm just trying to clear some cobwebs in my head, so I needed some assistance on this. See, the first step we say in the journey is to say, I am not the body and I am the soul. So, at least in Bhagavad Gita.
No, that is the discovery at the end.
Okay.
This is the hypothesis with which we begin. That I may not be the body,
I am the soul.
I may be something else. You don't even know the definition of the soul, do we?
Correct. So that's the. So when I leave the physical part and let's look at the different and across all the videos I've seen and the talks I've heard, there is the non-physical part. There is a soul or an Atman. There is the spark of the Brahman which you say within you. There is an energy component called the Kundalini. There is the prana. There is consciousness. What is the true self with? So I can experience prana when I'm doing yoga. I can feel something moving. Sometimes while during meditation, I can feel some throbbing in the chakra. But I cannot. What is that soul? When they say be in touch with your true inner self, what is that true inner self? I am not able to.
Listen carefully. You cannot say, you cannot find out what is the soul at this point. If you could find out, there is no need of Kriya, no need of you already found it. So, the attempt is to touch the essence of our being. What is the essence of our being? Consciousness. Without consciousness, we are merely a physical thing, right? Consciousness. Now, whether you call the consciousness soul or mind or thought, we know only that much at the moment. I may be knowing something, but at the moment. So, the starting point is to understand that there is a witness which is watching all that is happening, including the idea of the soul, and that we have to reach moksha. You understand? There is a witness, right? Even in deep sleep, if you think there is no witness, there is a witness, but you are not aware of it at that point. When you wake up, you feel very blissful. I had a blissful sleep. How does that happen? There must have been some remembrance. Somebody remembers. That is considered to be your true essence. You may call it soul, chit, whatever you want to call it. That is our true essence. So the whole process is to discover that. So how do we discover that? As long as the mind is turbulent, as long as the mind is scientifically divided, as long as the mind is agitated, you cannot find that source. So, the first step is to calm the mind down, to cool it down, where there are no ruffles. That's the first step. If you ask me why we are doing it, because unless it's calmed down and quietened down, you cannot touch your real being. You don't have to use a name like soul, atma, jiva, just leave it there. The witness of the entire consciousness, which in its true essence is supremely blissful and which has no pain actually. If you found that, you're free. Okay. Now you also mentioned this energy. It so happens that when the energy is at the bottommost level, which is for most of us, it's enough to function in this world. You cannot access the subtler levels of awareness. So the point of raising the energy is to raise our consciousness from the gross to the subtle to the subtle. Until we reach that state where we are face to face with only the true essence of our being. This is where they are all interwoven together. So, if you need to look more carefully into this, there are some YouTubes in which I have discussed this, but I'll give you some good news because I think you read. Yeah. The good news is that Penguin Random House, maybe this year, in a couple of months, are going to bring out a book called Q&A, Question and Answers, Meditation, by M. You get hold of a copy. I have tried to deal with the questions as carefully as possible. So if you don't get your answers, you can look at that. If you still have doubt, after all, you're in Bangalore, so.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, what is the importance of Nama Japa and stotras, stutis and mantras in the spiritual journey?
Too much of it is not good, but there has to be some way to fix your mind internally, right? There has to be. There has to be some way. Okay. Now, one way is Kriya, meditation. One way is through watching the breath. The mind has to be engaged. One way is through chanting of mantras. Now, these mantras are words which have been imbued with a certain capacity, certain energy, especially if it is given by somebody who has practiced it regularly and found the result. Otherwise, you can read from books, but that's not so good. Suppose somebody gives you. If you keep chanting that mantra, a time will come when the mantra goes on automatically in your mind. If that happens, then you are doing what's called ajapa japa. Automatically the japa is going on. When this happens, then the mind clears up and moves towards its source, which is the Supreme Being. Then, stotrangal. It's better to, it's a good thing to chant stotras like Vishnu Sahasranam, Lalita Sahasranam. There are so many, Aditya Hridaya. There are so many stotras, Saundari Lahiri. It's nice to chant because it's better to keep the mind occupied with something spiritually connected. Because if you are not doing that, what will the mind do? Watch funny videos on the laptop. So it's
Only that much, sir?
that is important. That's a very important part of stotras. And the stotra itself has mantras which have been built in with a certain capacity to improve you. So when you read it, then people who have a devotional mind, their devotion will increase when you chant this.
Sir, actually, what I intended was these stotras are like praising the God or some energy. Actually, this energy or God need not be praised.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I don't do anything.
So, why that's mentioned like this?
God, it doesn't get so flattered easily. It's for our own good. It's for our own good that by chanting you admit that there is a higher power. I am not all powerful. Mainly that is the reason. You don't have to keep praising God all the time. I don't like prayers which always start with praise be to God, the Lord of the universe. Why should we say that? He knows. Is he waiting for us to say that?
Sir.
And one minute, let me answer. And when you glorify the divine being, you're not glorifying for a particular purpose, then it becomes devotion. Otherwise, normally what happens? You are the greatest, you are the creator of the universe, you are this, that. Please give me a promotion. Then it comes. If simply I say, you are the greatest, then my mind also expands and goes there. I don't want anything. I just want to praise you. Hello. Okay. Let's come down to a concrete thing. There is a young girl you are in love with. Suppose, I don't know. It's natural to praise that girl. Even if it is not true, you might pray. അയ്യോ ഇതുപോലത്തെ കണ്ണ് ഞാൻ കണ്ടിട്ടേ ഇല്ല എന്നൊക്കെ പറയും. കണ്ടു കാണും, പക്ഷെ എന്നാ എന്തുകൊണ്ടാ പറയുന്നത്? സ്നേഹം കൊണ്ടാ പറയുന്നത്, അല്ലേ? വേറെ എന്താ അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യാനല്ലല്ലോ, സ്നേഹം കൊണ്ട് പറയും. അതേപോലെ stotras are praises of the divine being because of the love you have for the divine. He doesn't, she or he doesn't need any praises. നമ്മളൊന്നും പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് കാര്യമില്ല.
Sir, first I am very thankful to you for conducting such a wonderful camp at Kannur. It is amazing experience. My request is kindly advise some yoga exercise we can do along with Kriya Yoga in daily life.
In daily life, the best yoga is you learn from a Hatha Yoga teacher and do some asanas and pranayam. I can't do it here right now, but do some asanas and pranayam, learn it from a proper yoga teacher. It will be very useful to you even for doing Kriya. Now, there are many yogas. Don't do yoga, what is that? Heat yoga. There is nothing like that. So, do proper yoga. Go to a proper yoga teacher. If you ask me where to find a yoga teacher, I don't know who the yoga teachers are here. But in Chennai, you can go to the school run by Deshikacharya, Krishnamacharya. A very good yoga school. Lonavala, there is a school. What is that thing called? Kaivalya Dhama. So, there are quite a few places where, or you can go to Shivananda Ashrama and do some yoga.
Sir,
The other thing is, just now you did exactly what our man asked. You were praising me. There is no need.
Sir, I have ഞാൻ കുറച്ച് ഈ പതഞ്ജലിയിൽ പോയി കുറച്ച് യോഗ പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ ഡെയിലി ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ 4-5
ചെയ്യണം.
അല്ല 4-5 ഇതിൻ്റെയോടൊപ്പം ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റിയത് അഡ്വൈസ് ചെയ്യണം എന്നാണ് ഞാൻ.
പക്ഷെ അത് പഠിച്ചു വേണം ചെയ്യാൻ. ചുമ്മാ ഞാനിങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് ചെയ്തുവിടാം. And also see if you are qualified to do it. If you have physical ailments because of which you, for instance, you want to do Shalabhasana and you have a back problem, it will increase, aggravate. So that's why I said better to have a personal teacher so that he will advise you what to do. Just remember that there are some postures which are with your head down and legs up. There are some postures with your body, spine bending forward. There are some postures with your spine bending backward. So you have to do both, bending this way and bending that way to make the spine supple. Head down postures are good, but not for a very long time, and don't do it if you have a high BP. These are meant to increase the circulation in the head area. In fact, your thinking also will become clearer and sharper when you do this. So, work out some. Then there is, I don't want to demonstrate. Take a spinal twist, Ardha Matsyendrasana, Chiya. But always remember to do Shavasana when you finish your asana. lie down like a shavam, like a corpse, and rest. Because then the effect of the asanas is felt only when you do the shavasana.